thing about, like for me, and because Elon Musk, I wouldn't say he's controversial, but he's out there a little bit, just in terms of a character. He's a bit of a character. And like you said, he's involved in, so many aspects and, the popularity of Tesla and whatnot. I think it's really ignited people's imagination. I was not yet alive at the time, the Apollo program put a man on the moon, but I think I don't know what that felt like. I don't know what how that ignited the imagination or engaged, us around the world together. I do know there was a collaboration there. But, I'm kind of wondering, how this era, compares, is it the same, or the differences, and, what are those?
So it is different. So you and I talked last time about how the workforce has changed in the space industry, where it was
Right.
white male, STEM professional, you worked for the government, military, or civil agency.
Sure.
Now you're male, female, different career paths, and that's the thing we want to share with kids. It's about career paths, and then you can work for a startup company, or you can work for academia, or you can work for NASA. So there's lots of opportunities. So things have changed. When you think about Apollo back in that era 50 years ago, we're really looking at a space race between the U.S. and Russia. Who
Right.
could get there first? Lots of resources. But what we have lost track of was all the great technology that came from the Apollo era. Formulated food,
Right.
fire. My husband's a retired firefighter, so
Right.
fire retardant clothing came from the space industry, the
Right.
Apollo program. So all this great technology came from the Apollo era. So what people are realizing today, all these countries and companies, they're realizing by looking at going back to the moon and Mars, we're going to unlock all kinds of new technology that we're going to be able to use here on Earth. That's going to better our lives here on Earth. And so it's a new type of space race, but now it's a space race about technologies and innovation.
Right. Have you, and this is just a bit of a sidebar, it's just got me, it's not the same, but there was this movie, Don't Look Up. Have you heard of that?
I haven't.
You've got to see that movie. Meryl Streep plays the President of the United States.
Okay.
Not a particularly savory character in that, but there are it's a all-star cast, I think, including DiCaprio's in it, and I always forget the gal that played in the Hunger Games.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I always forget her name.
Is
I
it
don't
Jennifer?
know. Yeah, it's Jennifer something. But
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yes. Anyway, she actually plays a scientist who discovers that there's an asteroid coming toward the Earth, and and there's this whole. It's a very political, Hollywood political commentary on the whole thing. But there's a character who, is developing, this ability to go into space and live in space, and, kind of this cryo pod, to going to new planets and different kind of things like that. And I think, obviously the idea is, picking up bits and pieces from real life characters. Art imitates life type of idea. And it's really got me thinking. I watched it with my kids on Netflix, over the holidays, and it just really got me thinking about, if it's showing up in a Hollywood sort of satire film with these major players, and all who are politically, informed and fairly vocal, then it's got to be closer than, maybe most people are thinking.
Well, we do know that the last extinction on the planet was from an asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. When will that happen again? That's a good question. I won't go into the planets and how, all the asteroids are usually outside a certain belt. But what I will say is NASA does have a program called the Asteroid Redirect program.
Okay.
So we are looking at, we as in the
Right.
space community, what would
course.
that look like if an asteroid were coming near the planet? What could we do? And so there are some things taking place on how could we land on an asteroid? Can we do samples? Can we lift off?
Right.
And that will slowly allow us to test our ability to, could we redirect an asteroid if we were to discover one was coming towards the planet?